It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure of up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when they wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.
Disclaimer: this broadcast is intended for commentary, discussion, and entertainment purposes only. All topics and statements are based on publicly available information, including news reports, social media content, and third-party sources, which may include allegations or unverified claims. The views expressed are opinions and should not be interpreted as confirmed facts. This content is not intended to harm, defame, misrepresent any individual, organization, or entity. Viewer discretion is advised. What is going on? I hit unmute and I was still muted, y'all. Oh man. Y'all, welcome into the weekly rain report. I had this good cold opener for y'all. As a matter of fact, let's I'm gonna have to cut all this off here. Man, I'm still trying to wake up, y'all. So let's get into it. So a 13-year-old goes to a sleepover and never comes home. His family questions the story from the beginning. I appreciate everybody being in here too. So now there's been an arrest in Philadelphia. We're going to go over to Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, a man accused of terrifying people while wearing a Chucky mask has been identified. But as of today, that manhunt is still on. Then we're going to come back over here to Georgia. Here at a home in Atlanta, 2 little girls, they disappeared with a babysitter that their mother says she trusted, and police eventually find them locked inside a trailer. And you know what? That technology that helped investigators narrow down that search is the same type of technology that communities across the country are now fighting to remove. So then we're going to go over to Wellness Watch, where 4 patients walk into a Nashville hospital for a routine joint replacement. And instead of receiving the anesthetic they were supposed to get, the hospital now says they were injected with potassium phosphate. Then we're going to move over to Penn State. What started as allegations of a fraternity cocaine operation now includes a student's father, who prosecutors accused of concealing a safe containing drugs and cash, y'all. And after all of that, you know what? The federal government has discovered that your child's gaming habit might actually come with some kind of transferable skills. So this week's radar is fully loaded. So let's get into it, y'all. I gotta watch that mute button. So welcome into my raindrops. I am Rain, and this is another weekly rain report where we take the stories that caught my attention throughout the week, and it was a ton of them. I had to figure out which ones I really wanted to talk about because it's a lot going on, y'all. We're gonna look at what we actually know, and then talk about why these story matters. And some of these stories they're real heavy tonight, and some are gonna make us ask some uncomfortable questions, and at least one is gonna let us have fun before we leave. So if you're just not coming through the door, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I am also live on my new channel, Rain's Radar Investigates. Rain's Radar Investigates, where I'm going to be breaking down some crime stories and whatnot over there on that side. So hit subscribe on both of those channels, whichever channel you're on. We always bring y'all great content. And so I do have some new people in the chat. Nicole Johnson, welcome in, Nicole Johnson. Souls was in here super early. Welcome in, Souls, with the raindrops, the umbrellas. And then Supermax said I was muted. Yes, y'all, I was muted, but we got it together. And we're going to bring it back through. We're going to start off over on in my first segment, Radar Investigates, which goes well with my new channel as well. So whatever channel y'all on, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. I am streaming with Souls over at the Raw Society Network and Uncle Plug quite a few times a week. We have been covering some big stories, y'all. If y'all are interested in Carmelo Anthony and what he has going on, if y'all are interested in Nolan Wells, if y'all are interested in anything in that nature, we have also, since I got y'all's attention right now, because it's going to be a quite lengthy show, today at 5 o'clock, hold tight, today at 5 o'clock Eastern, make sure y'all come back to the Raw Society Network, to Souls of Thought page, and make sure y'all tap in with us. There is a young gentleman. His name is Malachi Lancaster. We will be speaking with his mother today. There was a hunting incident that happened in Gainesville, Florida back in 2024, and she is still trying to get answers. So make sure y'all come back today at 5 o'clock. I'm trying to get the graph pulled up. Not the graph, but the graphic pulled up right quick. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. If I don't have it up now, I'll have it up before the end of the show. As a matter of fact, I know what I can do right quick. I'll have it up before the end of the show. Let's see. I'll have it up right here. And we will be live on Facebook as well. So make sure y'all tap back in to Facebook, the Raw Society Network, and let's see if I can find it right there. Here it is, y'all. Add the stage. Boom. So we're going to support the Lancaster family today at 5 p.m. Eastern. Make sure y'all tap into the Raw Society Network. Souls of Thought, y'all see him in the comments, his page, and on Facebook at the Raw Society Network as well. I'll try to drop all those links before I leave today, so y'all will have those. But Miss Sophie, she's going to come in and tell her story. And so hopefully we can help her family they closed the case without a final determination. So where she's searching, she's hoping to, she has a petition. She's hoping to get the state of Florida to reopen the case. So y'all make sure y'all tap in today at 5 o'clock with that. So let's keep rolling with what I got here today. First, we're going to go over to Atlanta. And this is going to be for my Radar Investigate segment. So 13-year-old Cameron Boone, he went to spend the night at a home in Northwest Atlanta. Early in the morning on July 28th, Atlanta police were called to a home on Lindsay Street. When officers arrived, they found Cameron suffering from a gunshot wound. He was unfortunately pronounced dead on the scene, and almost immediately, members of Cameron's family began questioning what they were being told. They said Cameron didn't play with guns, and they did not believe in early explanations suggesting Cameron had shot himself. So let's go over to the clip. I'm gonna add it to the save. Let's go over to the clip, and then we'll listen in what they have to say, and then we'll come back to it.
Everyone, glad you're here with us. I'm Linda Stouffer in for George Estevez.
And I'm Karen Greer. We first took you to the scene Tuesday of a shooting that killed a 13-year-old boy. Now, his father's telling Channel 2 Action News what he saw in the house that makes him think it was not self-inflicted. Channel 2's Tom Jones is live along Lindsay Street in Northwest Atlanta and spoke exclusively to that teen's father. Tom.
Yeah, Karen, Father Anthony Boone says he has heard several versions of what happened inside this home here, all ending with Cameron shot himself. He doesn't believe it and says police told him they don't either. Boone described how he raced to this home and found his son with a bullet wound to the head.
I just lost because I knew he was dead. But me as a parent, I'm trying to bring him back.
Anthony Boone described the frantic moments when he tried to save his 13-year-old son's life after he had been shot. Boone lives a couple of blocks away and ran to the scene. He says he saw the man who owns the gun that killed his son, Cameron.
When I get down there, the first thing I said, man, you killed my son.
Atlanta police say they arrived at the home on Lindsay Street just before 4 Tuesday morning. That's where they found Cameron dead.
It hurt so bad. I cried, then I can't cry.
Boone says his son was spending the night at the home because he liked to play video games with a relative. He says people in the home told him Cameron shot himself. He says that's not what police told him.
They say it don't look like it been on suicide.
Boone says he saw Cameron lying on a couch with a blanket over him and his phone on his chest like he was asleep. He said his son had a wound to the left side of his head.
My son is right-handed, so how would you get a shot on the left side of your head?
And he says when he arrived, no one had called police.
I just want justice for Cameron, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want the truth to come out. Let me know what happened to my son.
And we tried to talk to the people in this home the day this incident happened. I knocked on the door today. Still, no one answered. I wanted to talk to police, get their version, or see if they can confirm the version that the father told me. They would only say, or they referred me to their initial statement, which they posted on social media, which essentially says it's all still under investigation. We're live in Northwest Atlanta. I'm Tom Jones for Channel 2 Action News.
Wow, y'all. That's tough. That's so said we got to stay on the radar run segment, chasing down evidence. This is happening too often. This is happening too often. We let our children go with people we trust. We let our children. It's almost like we have to keep our children under our wing at all times. I mean, I know once they get older, so we can't do that. You know, they're gonna be adults. But I just got chills because we trust in our teachers. We trust in the public eye. We trust this right here. It just makes me want to keep my child at home all the time. You know, and it's oh man, I just got chills. So they do have an update, and I'll see if I can find an updated video right quick. But according to, they laid him like he was asleep. Crazy work. Yes. So there is an update though. So on August the 13th, which was earlier this week, about 10 days ago, Atlanta police did arrest 19-year-old Davion Kearney. He is charged with involuntary manslaughter, reckless conduct, tampering with evidence, and making false statements. Atlanta police said the investigation remains ongoing. So they're not even complete with the investigation yet, but you've arrested somebody. But arrest warrants reported by the Atlanta News First gave a much clearer picture of what investigators now allege happened. Let's go to Atlanta News First. I got y'all here. So let's go. Let's see what I can find. Let's see what I can find. Let me remove this right quick, and then I'm gonna go to Atlanta news first. I shared this with y'all. We're not even getting an update. My apologies. So let's do this. but yet and still, my feelings are still the same. Let's see if I can find something so we can listen in on this right quick. Videos, y'all hold on. Okay, kind of motel. Woman hit by car. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Just stand by. We gonna get to it. Where it went? Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. Is this it? Yeah, here it is. Hold on. Oh, they just saying that he was arrested. They didn't give any details. So I'm still gonna share it to y'all so we can listen in. Oh yeah, it's only 30 seconds long.
18-year-old in connection with the teen's death in Northwest Atlanta. It happened last month on Lindsay Street. That's where officers say they found a 13-year-old boy shot and killed. According to warrants, the suspect, Davion Kearney, told investigators that the boy accidentally shot himself. Authorities now say Kearney inadvertently shot him while grabbing his firearm. Kearney is facing several charges, including involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence. Police just arrested a 19.
Okay, y'all. So there. I thought it was gonna give more details, but it didn't. So according the notes that I have, according to those warrants, Kearney allegedly had an unsecured, unholstered firearm in his pants while smoking marijuana. Investigators allege that the gun became loose, started to fall, and when Kearney attempted to grab it, the firearm discharged and struck Cameron. Those are allegations though, y'all, allegedly. Kearney has been charged, not convicted, but compare that allegation to where the story began. The family says they were initially hearing that Cameron has somehow shot himself. Now investigators are alleging that an adult was mishandling an unsecured firearm when it discharged. The first story is not always the final story. The first story is not always the final story. You know, a lot of families, they ask questions because they're grieving. They ask questions because something legitimately does not make sense. And sometimes those questions are asked are exactly why an investigation has to continue until the evidence tells us what happened. Because what if the dad would have accepted that? Then somebody would have gotten away with manslaughter or murder, you know? He was 13 years old. He went to a sleepover. That's normal childhood stuff. Kids play video games, eat everything in somebody's refrigerator, still wake up, at 3 o'clock in the morning or sleep until 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, but be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. And, mom, dad, whoever picks him up the next day, except Cameron, he didn't come home. Us as parents, we ask, who lives there? What time should I pick you up? But how many of us actually ask those parents, hey, do you have firearms in your home? Are they locked up if they do? Does your child have, does anybody have access to them? How are they secured? That's something that we have to ask these days. I've never thought about asking that. And I've said this before on my show, and I think so on No Middleman too. Responsible gun ownership doesn't begin after something happens either. It begins as you own, the minute you own that gun. You have to prevent these things from happening. You know. So do y'all think, as a parent, do y'all ask whether firearms are in the home before allowing your child to spend a night? This makes me not want to let my child spend a night at all, period. Even with asking about it. Have we gotten away from spending the night? I know back in the days we did it all the time, but have we gotten away from it? So I'm gonna get to some of these chats because Souls and Superman in here. Soul said, look how they start. Look how they start. We look with low charges but gave Carmelo murder. So says, say what you want, but black states give black criminals low charges, then put them back into society, I guess. Superman said, I don't know, Souls. I'm challenging black states. Name one. Soul said, I'll come with the stats this week, maybe majority black cities. Because they say Atlanta is a black city. Superman says, okay. And Soul says, but ultimately we losing too many of us, period. And we are. Superman said, no sleepovers, Rain is correct. Absolutely. No sleepovers. None, y'all. Let me get this off the stage and we're going to move on to our next segment, which is, so our next story is going to take us from Atlanta to Philadelphia. And this one, I'm putting it under reality check this time because prank culture, viral culture, all this constant need to like get attention because when somebody genuinely believes they're about to die, I don't know if we can like still call that a prank. So let's move forward to reality check. I clicked on the wrong thing, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it right. So imagine you're jogging through downtown Philadelphia early in the morning. You see somebody wearing what police describe as a Chucky-style Halloween mask, and then he starts coming towards you. Philadelphia police say a masked man approached, chased, and antagonized numerous people around Center City on August 12th. Investigators say one woman was jogging near City Hall when the man got in front of her, held a phone, and repeatedly asked her, "Are you ready to die?" Whoa. The woman ran, and police say she suffered serious injuries to her leg and spine while trying to escape. Investigators say the masked man approached or attempted to frighten roughly 15 or 16 people that morning. They also say surveillance footage repeatedly showed him holding a cell phone, leading investigators to believe he may have been recording the encounters for social media content. Police have identified him as 22-year-old Zymir Hughes, and as of today, they have found no report that Hughes has been captured. The latest report still describes this as an active manhunt, and police believe that he may have left Pennsylvania. Authorities say Hughes has connected in Los Angeles and Las Vegas and Philadelphia, and police are working with U.S. Marshals to locate him. So let's listen in on that, y'all. Let me get that pulled up. Let's see. It's the wrong one. Where is it at? You know what? Sometimes I think my
people, including a woman out for a jog last week. And in addition to filming her, he allegedly asked, "Are you ready to die?" Our Lily Luciano in Philadelphia with details.
Police are searching for this masked man accused of terrorizing people in Philadelphia. This video shows one of the frightening encounters near City Hall last Wednesday, when investigators say a 40-year-old woman was jogging at around 5:30 a.m. when the man wearing what appears to be a creepy doll mask started chasing her.
Are you ready to die? He makes that statement.
That's wild, y'all. Oh, so you a runner? What if you would have encountered this? Would you not have been running that? No, you ran plenty of times early in the morning in DC. So you were running. What's your thoughts on this?
Statement twice. Then she proceeds to run away from him. She injures herself in the process, and she started screaming. And we believe that's what deterred the suspect.
The suspect eventually stopped chasing that woman. Investigators say at one point he implied he had a weapon, though no weapon was seen. This was one of at least 6 encounters police say happened within a span of a half hour that morning. Jamaica Wilson came face to face with the masked man.
I started to run across the street.
So he saw you.
He saw me starting to run,
chase you.
and he started to chase me. So I figured it was smart to turn around and face him.
So you confront him.
I did.
Did you kick him?
I kicked him right in the middle of the chest.
Police only have a vague description saying they believe it's a black man 18 to 25 years old.
How serious could the charges be? What are you looking at?
Oh, the charges could most certainly include, as I mentioned, terroristic threats, recklessly endangering another person, intimidation, harassment.
Tonight, that suspect is still on the loose. Police are warning anybody who believes that they spotted him to avoid approaching him and to call 911 immediately. They're also urging anybody with information to reach out to the Philadelphia Police Department.
Wow, y'all. So shout out to CBS Evening News for that report. That's some tough stuff, no? So said I would have asked him, is he ready? Superman said, running negative, kick in the face. So said, you see, he went at women, she wasn't playing. Yeah, that's some wild stuff, y'all. I don't know. I probably would have been scared. So police say, here's what police say: they did not see Hughes display a weapon during these encounters, but investigators did say that when he confronted the jogger, he allegedly positioned one arm behind his back in a way that would make someone believe that he had one. She don't know if he's filming content. She doesn't know if there's no weapon. She doesn't know, is he really going to hurt me? All she knows is somebody's wearing a frightening mask. Did y'all see that mask? Chasing her and asking, are you ready to die? Man, that's crazy. It's crazy. I would have been scared. I really would have. I ain't gonna lie to you. So that's what's in reality check. And you know what? There's another one in reality check that I want to talk about too. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. We're going to go ahead and pull this one up. I'm going to be all out of order. I had everything in order, but that's okay. We're going to pull this one up. Because my chat wasn't listening to me this week. So he lucky to be alive. Mine going to fire him. Superman said he's lucky to be alive. Mine going to fire him. Yeah, definitely. I want to move over to under reality. I want to stay on the reality check with this one though. I want to move over to Pennsylvania. Attorney General Dave Sunday's office has charged 14 people, y'all. 14 in connection with an alleged cocaine trafficking organization involving Penn State and students and 2 fraternities. 13 of those defendants were Penn State students at or around the time of the alleged conduct in 2023 and 2024. Authorities say Agostino Abatello and Thomas Robinson were 2 of the main suppliers in the alleged operation. They regularly traveled to Philadelphia and New York to obtain large quantities of cocaine. Investigators allege that cocaine was then brought back to State College, cut, packaged up, and distributed primarily to Penn State students. And according to the Attorney General, much of that cutting and packaging allegedly took place inside the Delta Epsilon fraternity house. and the Sigma Chi fraternity house. Prosecutors say much of the money moved through cash and payment apps. And here's one of the most disturbing allegations. The Attorney General says that for some of the fraternity pledges, cutting and packaging cocaine allegedly became part of their indoctrination to the fraternity. So let's get that pulled up, y'all. That's some wild stuff too. Let's get that pulled up. Where my Penn State story at? There it is. Boom. I'll pull this up for y'all.
Authorities tonight in Pennsylvania going undercover to expose what they are calling the large-scale cocaine drug wing operated out of 2 Penn State University fraternity houses. Pledges and those fraternity members allegedly cut and packaged the drugs, then turned around and sold the cocaine to Penn State students. Here's the Pennsylvania Attorney General on this one.
In fact, we found a pattern of events that showed cutting and bagging cocaine was, for some pledges, an indoctrination into the Delta Upsilon and Sigma Chi fraternities.
14 people here were arrested, including 4 current Penn State students. Authorities add here the drug ring operated mainly between 2023 and 2024 using large amounts of cocaine from suppliers out of Philadelphia and New York City. Well, today a judge denying bail for this man here. He's the accused ringleader here of the operation, 24-year-old Agostino Abatiello. The Penn State alum here failing to appear for his arraignment just yesterday. A vice president at Penn State University saying of this investigation, calling it, quote,
did he just say he failed to appear for his arraignment? Didn't he just say that? Let's see.
A vice president at Penn State University saying of this investigation, calling it, quote, they are horrified by Penn State 24-year-old Agostino Abatiello. The Penn State alum here failing to appear for his arraignment just yesterday.
Oh, yeah, so he failed to appear. Let's see. Okay, so let's see if we can find something. Oh, this one says he surrendered. I'm gonna click on
and that
this
is where we start tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm Natalie Pasquarella.
And I'm David Ushery. Men from Long Island and New Jersey facing charges. They're all allegedly caught up in a complex drug ring that stretched from New York to the Penn State campus.
And one of the alleged ringleaders is from Westbury, Long Island. Investigators say this operation used fraternity pledges to funnel drugs to Penn State students, allegedly getting the drugs from New York to Philly. We have News 4's Greg Sergo live in Westbury with more on how it all unfolded, Greg.
Let's listen in.
And Natalie, this Westbury Street is home to that former student and alleged leader of the drug ring. He's one of 4 Long Island men and 3 from New Jersey charged in connection with selling cocaine on the Penn State campus. Is there anything you want to say? No response today from this woman entering the Westbury home of Agostino Abatiello. He's the 24-year-old who surrendered to Pennsylvania authorities today, a day after failing to appear in court on charges he was the leader of a major cocaine ring on the campus of Penn State University.
Completely shocked. I can't believe it.
This neighbor today called the Abatiello family hardworking, but Pennsylvania's Attorney General describes Agostino Abatiello as Penn State's largest drug dealer in 2023 and 24.
Large amounts of cocaine, kilos, were brought from Philadelphia and New York to State College, where they were cut and packaged for sale primarily to Penn State students.
In all, 13 current or former Penn State students have now been charged. Prosecutors say the cocaine was packaged at 2 off-campus fraternities, with fraternity brothers and pledges doing the work.
Cutting and bagging cocaine was, for some pledges, an indoctrination into the Delta Upsilon and Sigma Chi fraternities.
Abatiello was with the Sigma Chi fraternity, a former accounting student whose About Me page said had a passion for numbers. In a statement, Penn State said it's horrified by the allegations. But prosecutors say there's no evidence drugs were packaged on the university campus itself. In Secaucus today, News 4's Sarah Wallace visited the home of one of the 3 New Jersey men also charged in connection with this ring. But Mohammed Harabi's mom declined comment. A neighbor, however, expressed the same surprise voiced by many close to these defendants.
I just heard about this morning, and I'm devastated for the family. I'm devastated for the other children. I'm sad for them.
Back here in Westbury, where there's word that Abatiello was ordered held without bail today by a Pennsylvania judge. A parent of one of the students has also been charged in connection with this case, allegedly for trying to conceal evidence from investigators. We're live in Westbury. Greg Sergel, News.
Yeah, y'all. So I have some information on the father as well. So defendant, they said 14. Okay, defendant number 14. He is a father. He is Paul Robinson. He's the father of the alleged supplier Thomas Robinson, and prosecutors have charged Paul with felony, tampering, and hindering apprehension. The Attorney General's office alleges that Paul Robinson took steps to conceal evidence and obstruct the investigation. And among that evidence, prosecutors specifically identify a safe containing drugs and cash. So prosecutors allege a student's father became involved with a safe containing drugs and money connected to the investigation. So that's where he comes in. And now, too, also I have in my notes that the dad has another side to the story. His attorney says Robinson did not knowingly set out to hide incriminating evidence. His lawyer says Robinson came into possession of the safe while helping clean out his son's fraternity room after his son had been arrested and removed from Penn State. His attorneys dispute the prosecution's interpretation of what Robinson did with that safe. So that's important. Prosecutors, they made allegations. The defense is disputing them, and ultimately a court has to determine what can actually be proven. I'm gonna get to some of these chats before we move on. Soul says, this is how 50 created his power show with Tyreek, noting nothing new under the sun. Marty said, hey, Rain. Hey, Marty, how you doing? Supermax said, gotta face it. Law enforcement is primarily for the poor. So said 50, giving these young men ideas. TV is becoming reality. Content will be under scrutiny very soon. I swear. It's this is crazy. At least it takes a spotlight off of some things. Yeah, okay. So I already talked about this. So he initially Agostino initially failed to appear for his scheduled arraignment. He later surrendered. The judge denied him bail, though, and the Pennsylvania AG says that all the major defendants are now accounted for, and that the case will proceed toward preliminary hearing. So, yeah, that's another thing that was on my radar this week. I have so much stuff, so many news articles saved up, and that just made me think, like, wow, this is really going on. I mean, you can't, I don't know, you can't really imagine anything new would come up, but they had to have been funneling a lot of money. It was 13 of them all together. That's wild to me. That's wild to me, y'all. So let me see where we're gonna move to next. Dang, I had so much stuff to talk about, y'all. We did the Chucky mask. Oh, let's do Hometown Rain next, because this is a wild story too. So let's do Hometown Rain next. There we go. There we go. Hometown Rain. We're gonna go back up to Atlanta for Hometown Rain, where 4-year-old Zola Cooper and her 11-month-old sister Norah Cooper were reported missing after their babysitter allegedly failed to return them. Their mother says she had entrusted her children to Lakeisha Brown while she went out. But when Brown didn't return the girls, you know what? This is tying all together. All these parents, and being a mother, being a father. But when Brown didn't return the girls and communication began breaking down, their mother contacted authorities. What initially appeared to police to possibly be a custody type dispute eventually became a kidnapping investigation. Atlanta police special victims investigators began working through the night. They used cell phone information, community information, and other investigative technology to narrow down where Brown might be. Eventually, officers arrived near the 200 block of Sylvan Road, and then a detective heard something, a baby crying. The sound led officers to a locked trailer. Police got inside and found Zola and Norah alive. Both children were taken for medical evaluation and later reunited with their family. Let me I'm gonna pull this up. Let's see. Let's keep going to YouTube is different, y'all. YouTube is different. So different. Okay, so here's body cam footage of how it went down. Let's see.
Video of the moments when Atlanta police were able to rescue two kidnapped little girls, two sisters here in Atlanta. And this comes as the suspect in this case has waived her first court appearance. Our Ray Urena joins us live with the latest on this story. Ray, what are you learning?
Well, Ariel, like you mentioned, that suspect, Lakeisha Brown, she was supposed to be in court earlier this morning, just a few miles away at the Fulton County Jail at 11 a.m. for her initial hearing, but she decided to waive that hearing, so she was not in court today. Just a little bit about her charges. She's charged with 2 counts of kidnapping and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the first degree. And as you mentioned, Atlanta police just put out new body camera video that shows the moments that officers rescued these 2 girls, ages 4 and 11 months old, respectively, from a tow trailer in Southwest Atlanta. We're playing that video now.
I will say this, y'all, being in the state of Georgia, I did get the Amber Alert on my phone. They were initially looking for a Ford F-350 or F-250, white Ford F-350 or 250, and that's an excursion right there. So maybe they got the details wrong initially, but it did have an Alabama tag, if I remember correctly. So yeah, let's continue to watch.
From the beginning, you can see that investigators are using what looks like to be a cinder block to try and break the lock on this tow trailer before another officer comes in with bolt cutters, and then they eventually open the door to that tow trailer where they find the suspect, Lakeisha Brown, and 4-year-old Zola Cooper and 11-month-old Norah Cooper inside. We just got a copy of the arrest warrants from Lakeisha Brown from authorities, and they say inside that trailer there was no air conditioning, and they say yesterday the temperatures peaked at about 97 degrees. So that trailer had no air conditioning, but it did have an open ventilation window at the top of that trailer. So some new information about that trailer, and as it appears, it looks like one of those storage trailers that you kind of pull behind your vehicle whenever you're moving from place to place. So that's the nature of what investigators found. Also, we are learning more about her jail records and her past history to that 2021 case in Alabama that she's also accused of being a suspect in, where she allegedly kidnapped a 4-day-old baby. And jail records show that right now she has active warrants out of Paulding County and Jefferson County, Alabama. And
but she need to be in jail. I'm sorry.
To Alabama court records, Brown apparently did not show for the scheduled start of a jury trial back on May of this year. And that was connected, of course, to that 4-day-old baby case in 2021. And yesterday afternoon, prosecutors in Alabama filed a motion to revoke her bond, stating that she violated the conditions as a result of her new charges and by failing to appear in court. Police told us yesterday that she did have a warrant out for that specific offense. And the mom in this case, Alicia Redding, she has said that this woman, Lakeisha Brown, she gained her trust over years and years. And this was over the course of a year, I should say. She says that this was the first time that she allowed her to babysit her children. We talked to her yesterday. Here's what she had to say.
The first time I let her take them with her, she just used to be around, and I was always around when she was around. That's why it's crazy, because she didn't show nothing. She didn't show nothing like, oh, I can't let them be around my kids. It was like a regular auntie, like the auntie right here.
And so here we're in Northwest Atlanta, where this investigation began. We talked to the family. We've been talking to the aunt. She says that the family may want to speak about the new body camera and about the new information that's coming out later on today. So we're standing by just in case we do hear from the family later on today. But overall, Ariel, there's a lot of new information that's coming out today, just a day after officers were able to find those two children safe and sound. We have been told by the arrest warrants that those children were taken to Children's just to be evaluated as well.
Ray, thank you so much for the update. It was incredible to be able to see that body camera footage. One of the things that struck me is just, I know when investigators held their news conference yesterday, they talked about this trailer, and I assumed that it was a trailer like, you know, like a single wide, right? Or something like that, that someone would actually be living in, not a tow trailer for a truck. I mean, this is not a living space.
No, an investigator said as much in their arrest warrant. They described the conditions in there as uninhabitable and not suitable for human occupation. That's what the investigators said themselves in the probable cause portion of the arrest warrants, which we just got in the past hour. So I'm sure that when people hear a trailer, they're thinking, oh, this is maybe a fifth wheel from a recreational vehicle, or like you said, a single wide trailer that's in the apartment complex. But it turns out to be some sort of storage tow trailer instead, that thankfully investigators were able to get to these kids before anything happened. As they said yesterday, these kids are in good health and are expected to be okay, Ariel.
Right, just incredible, especially considering, like you mentioned, the temperatures. It has been so incredibly hot, and the fact.
Yeah. So that's wild. You would think that the her prior incidents with kidnapping charges, all those other charges that she had, you would think that they would arrest her and hold on 1 minute, y'all. I'm gonna be right. I gotta mute. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. I had an very important phone call. Okay, so yeah, I'm not for certain, as a mom, we trust people. I don't even know where I was. But yeah, it's she has other women speak with their eyes and face. All right, so she has other charges pending elsewhere, and honestly, it makes me question her mental as well too. If obviously she knows this is wrong, but it's like somewhere her brain is thinking it's still okay for her to do this, because it's been several times. Superman said, never seen any of 50's production. I'm sheltered. So said, let y'all tell it all they need is their cell phones. So we ain't never said that all they need is their cell phone. Never. So said, women speak with their eyes and faces. We do. I had to take that phone call quickly. But yeah, yeah. It's I just got distracted, but it's okay. We're gonna keep moving. I it's all these are tough as parents, I can't never say that I never worried when my child was with somebody I trusted, because I have. Even with somebody I trusted, I have worried. It may have not been like super tough, like I mean super like deep, like oh I'm just whittled with worry, or worry is just from my head to my toes, not in that sense, but they're still out of my sight. So with them being out of my sight or out of my vicinity, then or me not knowing exactly what they're doing, yeah. But it's tough trusting people with your children. It is, it's tough. I will say, and I'll give y'all a little peek into Rain when she was a child. When I was in first grade, I was kidnapped for a short period of time. And maybe one day, sooner or later, I'll share my story. But I'm here. They didn't get far. I'll say that. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed by one lady that was up late at night when she heard me. But yeah, I'll get into those details one time, one day. That'll be good. That'll be a good show. I have to figure out how I need to set it up and present it to y'all. But yeah, Rain, she was kidnapped when she was in the first grade. Yeah. So I do want to move on because they say that what helped them in this with this case, and I wish I saved the wrong video. I'm not gonna go digging for it because I've had y'all here for a while already. But what helped them with this, what helped them locate her, is the flock cameras. And without those flock cameras, do we really know, that they would have been found? So we've talked about. I brought flock here, I think last week to the radar. So we talked about flock before. Flock safety. They operate these automatic license plate readers used by law enforcement agencies across the country. It's gotten a lot of scrutiny lately because a lot of officers are abusing the system. They capture things like license plates, vehicle characteristics, and where and when a vehicle passed through a certain area. Police departments say that information can be incredibly valued, just like what happened here with the kidnapping of these two young babies. Stolen vehicles, missing child, kidnapping, wanted suspects, all of that. So the system can potentially help investigators identify a vehicle's movements much faster than traditional methods alone. And that's the public safety part, and it's legitimate. That's the argument. It's legitimate, and it helped with this situation. But here in Georgia, that controversy, though, has gotten serious. Earlier this month, 3 Bibb County sheriff deputies were arrested after an audit allegedly revealed that they were using flock information for personal, non-law enforcement reasons involving people with whom they have personal relationships. All 3 of them have since resigned, and Georgia has seen numerous other disciplinary actions, firings, and criminal investigations connected to alleged misuse of license plate reader databases. And now Atlanta itself is reviewing the system. The mayor, Andre Dickens, ordered a comprehensive review of Atlanta's flock surveillance program and its policies, and Atlanta police have also assembled a team to audit the system usage and look for potential unauthorized surface. Everywhere, but you know what? Everywhere else, they're getting a lot of scrutiny. In Oxford, Ohio, the city council voted 6-1 to terminate its flock contract. City leaders there acknowledge that technology can help police solve crimes. Their biggest concern, though, what could happen to Oxford's information once it was shared with other departments. And because if I'm not mistaken, departments from all over the United States can tap into these different flock cameras all over. And two, I did run across a video or an article. I read a lot too, y'all. A video or an article that says that you can search your own tag number to see how many times it's been searched. I'm not for certain the website, but I've heard that you can do that. So let's look into this flock video. Let me get this flock video pulled up. Yeah, my bad. There we go. They want to cancel in Ohio. They want to cancel it out. So let's pull this up. There we go.
Misuse by police officers and privacy concerns. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Lisa Hughes. A growing list of Massachusetts communities are turning off the controversial flock cameras, including Hopkinton, where Tammy Mutasa reports tonight.
That's right. This is one of the controversial flock cameras here in this Hopkinton neighborhood. Town officials have asked the company to deactivate them as soon as possible and remove them by September 30th. The flock fallout is expanding. Now Hopkinton is turning off the technology which scans license plates and records a car's details like make, model, and color.
I see it. I don't immediately think safety. I think somebody knows exactly where I am, where my car's going and everything, and that's pretty unnerving.
Town leaders canceled their contract with Flock Safety, saying a legal review found the agreement violated state law. Some drivers and neighbors who passed the cameras support the decision.
Yeah, I think it's a slight overreach.
Personal freedoms that you're willing to give up for the sake of safety or the illusion of safety is a very slippery slope and can get dangerous very quickly.
Police have said the plate readers are supposed to track suspects or criminals.
I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Obviously, when you go out in public, you don't have an expectation of privacy. Everywhere you go, there are cameras recording you, even at the gas station that we're at right now.
But lawyers like Lydia say that doesn't erase concerns about how that technology can be used.
Although it could be a good investigative tool, I'm always looking to protect our rights to privacy.
For instance, just today, Lynn police said 2 officers are on paid administrative leave after an audit found some concerning searches using the department's license plate reader technology. And a New Bedford police officer was accused of misusing flock camera data to keep tabs on her ex-girlfriend. The department has since paused using them.
It should not just be a termination. It should be a criminal offense if you abuse your power.
Last week, Flock Safety CEO announced safeguards in response to misuse concerns around the country. They include a tool to flag unusual searches and deleting raw data after 7 days instead of 30.
And we'll continue to move forward because until everyone has an equal level of safety in this country, we have work to do.
The Hopkinton Select Board chair tells me moving forward, they're weighing law enforcement technologies, weighing public safety, privacy, oversight, and community.
I was going to ask you, so what your thoughts was, and there you go. It pops up. It pops up. So said this technology is just to keep us out of power. They will now be able to leak anything in your past once you start gaining political momentum. So said it's still in a cloud. You think even after 7 days, after deleting it, after the 7 days, it's still in a cloud? So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like everything is still in a cloud after we delete it? After we so-called think that we're deleting it, do you think it's still in a cloud? It's crazy how even when technology was evolving 20, 30 years ago, they would say that even though you delete something, it's still there. And that was 20, 30 years ago. Like, even though you delete something, they can still bring it up. So it's still out there. It's already out there. Richard said, "Is this AI rain? Nothing real. Looks perfect." Oh, I'm real. I'm all real. What you need me to do? It's not AI. Not today. Soul said, "Nothing deletes. Nothing deletes." Soul said, "Rigid is back. Rigid, we owe you big time. We owe you big time, Rigid. We coming with it. It's been so much going on. We still are going to review Princess of the Row. We have not forgot about you, Rigid. I can't tell you when, but it'll happen soon. But we've had so much going on. So, but Rigid is back. Good to see you, Rigid. I'm glad you're in here. So yeah, y'all, we're gonna move on from technology to something that's even more personable. So let me pull that down. We're going to move over to Wellness Watch, y'all. Wellness Watch. So when most of us walk into a hospital, we assume that there's layers after layers after layers of safeguards protecting us. I know that when I had to have surgery on a certain part of me, I was marked up. I was asked, hey, what are we doing surgery on and where and all that? And the doctor confirmed it. There's nurses in there and everything. But this story out of Nashville shows what can happen if those safeguards fail, and not only to one person, but four. 4 patients went into Ascension Saint Thomas Midtown Hospital in Nashville for a routine joint replacement surgeries on August the 14th. They were supposed to receive an anesthetic medication, but something went terribly wrong. And we now know more than we did when this first story broke. The hospital has officially confirmed that the medication error occurred in its pharmacy. The patients were supposed to receive mepivacaine, a local anesthetic through spinal administration. But instead, the hospital says all 4 patients received potassium phosphate. All 4 experienced adverse medical reactions. News Channel 5 reports that the family of 72-year-old Glenda Dorton says she was left paralyzed, y'all. Another patient's family said their loved one was on a ventilator at the last report, and the Tennessee Bureau of Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says its investigation is still active and ongoing. So let's play this news clip.
Tonight, the TBI now confirms it is looking into that drug mix-up at a Nashville hospital that caused catastrophic complications for at least 4 patients.
The patients were there for what were supposed to be just routine surgeries. Investigative reporter Jennifer Krause joins us once again tonight with the very latest on this.
Jennifer, you were here last night giving us the initial information from Ascension Saint Thomas. I know you've learned more since.
All right. We start off with the TBI investigation. Here's what we know. The TBI tells me that their investigation is, quote, active and ongoing, so we know agents are on the case right now. Meanwhile, the hospital still is not answering questions about exactly what happened last Friday at Ascension Saint Thomas Midtown. But we do now know more about the patients involved and what likely they experienced.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
On Wednesday morning's Morning Line show, longtime medical malpractice attorney Clint Kelly was asked just how serious what happened last week at Ascension Saint Thomas Midtown really was.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 50. Yeah. I mean, it's the worst of the worst.
At this point, all the hospital has acknowledged in a statement Tuesday was that 4 patients were impacted by what it described simply as an event. But we have learned that it was so much more than just a simple event. Families of the patients tell us the hospital pharmacy put the wrong medication in syringes that were to be used during routine outpatient surgery.
So I wonder how far this is going to go up the chain when it comes to disciplinary action or termination, because you impacted 4 lives. And so if the pharmacy, whoever pulled those medications and labeled them wrong.
Last Friday, meaning at least 4 patients who came in for joint replacement operations did not get a standard pain drug through an epidural, but rather potassium, a drug often used during the lethal injection process because it stops the heart.
Well, battery acid is similar to potassium and how it affects the spine, so you can actually think to yourself, that's the injection of this medicine into the spine by epidural pathway might as well operate like battery acid. It, for lack of a better term, eats up the spine.
You could have killed my family member. And you impacted my family member for the rest of their life. Yes, she was 72. But now, you know, she was hoping to get back to a better active life by having a joint replacement done. And now they can't even do that.
Who does not represent anyone associated with this case, says this then leads to cardiac arrest because suddenly the brain can no longer send signals to the rest of the body. In fact, insiders tell News Channel 5 investigates that hospital staff first began to realize there was a problem when one patient after another coded or went into heart failure.
Wow.
And because the potassium was pushed directly into their spines, we know at least 2 patients were left paralyzed, including 72-year-old Glenda Dorton from Centerville, while another mid-state family tells us their mother, a 74-year-old Nashville woman, remains in the ICU on a ventilator. Insiders also tell us a middle-aged man is also among the critically ill patients. But how? How could something like this happen? The hospital would only say, again in its Tuesday statement, that it had launched a thorough investigation, identified the cause, and implemented corrective safeguards, and that its clinical teams are actively using these enhanced safety protocols.
And the only way this happens is someone took a shortcut.
Attorney Clint Kelly and those who work in the hospital pharmacy industry tell us that what happened simply should never have happened. Drugs like potassium, they say, have clear warning labels, and that there are safety checklists that are supposed to be followed, safety mechanisms in the dispensing system, and multiple sets of eyes on each drug before it ever leaves the pharmacy.
This was a failure of the hospital itself as an entity to either police its own system or to ensure that its checklist, its safety protocols are enforced. And that's a hospital problem. Yes, the employees can make mistakes, but were they set up to fail? You know, how often was this system checked? Were the policies enforced? The training mechanism, was there somebody there to supervise to ensure that decisions weren't being made that were not approved? That's all institutional in the hospital.
Now, we know at least 2 of those families are now talking with attorneys. Meanwhile, the hospital CEO yesterday said in her statement, quote, "I am deeply sorry for the harm caused to our patients." She went on to share that the hospital had connected.
I don't want to hear no more. Because where did it fail? Tell me where it failed. What safeguards y'all didn't have up? Tell me where it failed. There, because you have somebody's life on the line. We trust these healthcare providers to administer these drugs. You know, and I'll say this. You know what? I've been in situations where have y'all ever gone in and got tested for something like the flu? Or like strep throat, or CV-19, or any other like something that can be tested, like your y'all remember back in the day before all these electronic things where we can see what's going on with our health. Like right now, I can pull up and tell you what my A1C is. I can pull up and tell you what my last what's it called? All my blood test results. I can tell you what my blood sugar was. I can tell you what my calcium was. All that. Y'all remember back in the day we didn't even have that. We just trusted and knew that our doctors knew that we were okay. Back in the day. Now, when they started coming out with these electronic records, then, you know, now we know. So I will say this. Like say for instance, I went in and got tested for the flu. I want to see the actual test. It's gotten to the point now where I want to see the actual test. You're telling me I have the flu, but I want to put my eyes on the actual test. Show me where it says that it's there. Because what if they are just treating the symptoms? Say, for instance, we go in, we have all the symptoms of flu, but we test negative, okay? But no, you got all the symptoms, so I'm going to treat you like you have flu. What if you're giving us medication that won't even help? Because you have some things that are bacterial, like infections. You have bacterial infections, and then you have viral infections. Antibiotics do not help viral infections. So what if, personally, I recently, not too long ago, I had to go to the ER. Earlier this year, I was told that I had something. And even my test results proved that I didn't. And yet you still sent medication home with me. I didn't take the medication because I'm not foolish. But seriously, our health is personable to us. And there is doctors out here who don't take good care of their patients. They treat them as a number. So we have to make sure that we advocate for ourselves, advocate for our families when it comes to healthcare. I've always preached this. I always preached it, So I'm gonna do one more segment. And actually, I did have a solar reset, but I'm not gonna do a solar reset. I'm just gonna transition out of the wellness watch, and I got one more segment. I'm gonna get up out of here because I want y'all to come back at 5:00 this afternoon. We're gonna have Miss Sophie Lancaster on talking about her son Malachi Lancaster and his untimely events around his death. So let me I don't put it on it, but I'll just put it back on the the weekly rain report. And I want to talk about y'all know these kids out here. The FAA they want gamers. For years, parents have been telling these kids, hey, turn that game off, go outside, you're wasting your time. Then the federal government came along and basically said, hey, hold on, wait a minute. How good is he at that game? The U.S. Department of Transportation and the FAA launched a campaign this year specifically aimed at reaching gamers and other young adults as potential air traffic controllers. Oh, let me take this off the stage. My bad, y'all. Yeah. And there's actually some logic behind it. Transportation officials say gaming can help develop skills that transfer into air traffic control work. Things like multitasking, strategy, problem solving, concentration, and strong cognitive processing. The campaign slogan is, it's not a game, it's a career. And apparently it's got people's attention. During a 24-hour application window this spring, the FAA received 12,350 applications, with more than 10,000 qualifying in that initial stage. The DOT called it the most successful recruitment launch for air traffic controllers in FAA history. Do y'all know that you can't be over a certain age either to be an air traffic controller? After a certain age, you have to step down. There it is right here. Oh, that's 11 minutes long. We're gonna watch some of it. Let's see. There we go. We're going to play some of this.
That urge them to put down their console or PC controller and start controlling air traffic has been successful. That's according to numbers from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Now, earlier this year, the U.S. Department of Transportation celebrated more than 10,000 qualified candidates applying for a career as an air traffic controller during a 24-hour application window, saying that more than doubled its previous first-day record. Now, earlier this week, Duffy marked the outcome of that recruiting period, saying that more than 2,000 people were hired and 94% of the agency's hiring goal has been met. He noted that it is both a record number of hires and the fastest time the Department of Transportation has reached that hiring percentage. To talk all about this is Randy Klatt. He is a flight safety officer with the Foundation for Aviation Safety, joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thank you so much, Randy, for taking the time this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I just find this so interesting. Let's start with what skills a gamer might have that could translate to air traffic control.
It is a unique approach, I'll grant you that. Certainly, someone who plays a video game for any period of time has developed some skills that are going to be helpful. The decision-making, the ability to think quickly, to handle multiple objects moving on a screen, multiple directions, that sort of a 3D picture that you might see in a video game, not literally, but figuratively, as you try to figure out how to maneuver through it. So that thinking process, having that reaction time, those sorts of things are going to be valuable for sure. It's something that certainly would apply to an air traffic controller's job.
Right. And this campaign specifically, it points towards cognitive function, spatial awareness, multitasking, strategy, problem solving. How important are those abilities when it comes to safely managing air traffic?
Oh, they're absolutely vital. That's what they do every day, basically every minute of every day. So the job is extremely demanding. It requires all those skills. And the fact that lives lie in the balance, that's really the key here. You have to be able to think fast and make decisions and do all those things, the cognitive abilities. Not all has to happen, but in the background, there's that always present stress of knowing that a mistake can lead to a disaster. So I think that's the only concern that I would have with this kind of PR program. Yes, we've hired a lot of new people. That's great. They have some of the basic abilities that are needed. But of course, are they really willing to put down the game console where, of course, if you die in a game, you just start it up again and try it one more time? Now, that doesn't happen in real life. So transitioning those skills into this job may not be as easy as we think it might be.
Let's talk about that, because I know there are some concerns, people I've seen online saying, well, could a gamer really be an air traffic controller? What does that training look like? Is it pretty extensive to become an air traffic controller?
It's extremely extensive, which is one reason why, probably the primary reason why, we have such a shortage of air traffic controllers. So by the numbers, only about 10% of those who apply are actually accepted. And then you have to go through the Air Traffic Control Academy training in Oklahoma City. So we're looking at 16 weeks of training where dropout rate is up to 40%. So then that lucky 40% get to move on to a facility, be that a tower or an approach control facility or a center at some place in the country, where they now go through somewhere between 2 and 3 years typically of on-the-job training to become a fully qualified air traffic controller. And that process brings another 30% or so dropout rate. So by the time you get to the end, 2,000 applicants, we're left with maybe 40 fully certified controllers in a 2 to 3 year period down the road. So,
that's crazy, y'all. He said
rate. So by the time you get to the end, you need to become a fully qualified air traffic controller. And that process brings another 30% or so dropout rate. So by the time you get to the end, 2,000 applicants, we're left with maybe 40 fully certified controllers.
So out of 2,000 applicants, you only get 40. That's right. That must be some strenuous
in a 2 to 3 year period down the road.
2 to 3 year period.
That bottleneck of training, the time it takes, that's the significant issue in why there's a shortage. I mean, there are a lot of other issues that we can talk about, but that's a big one. And hiring more people at the front end really isn't going to solve the bigger picture in the long run.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying that this has been a huge success. Just to put up this graphic here again, this is what he had posted to.
In today's world, they're working 6 days a week. They're under extreme pressure. It's a very difficult job where even now we're still 60 to 70% undermanned in a lot of locations. So you're entering into a really difficult, although very rewarding career. And, you can make a very good living and have a lot of satisfaction in it, but it's not easy to do. So, only time will tell if this is really going to be a successful effort. As I said, hiring a lot more people in the front end doesn't solve the problem because of the long training and the long dropout process that takes place. But it is a start. If you don't have the applicants, then you'll never get there. So good news. And, I'm on the fence a little bit. We'll see. Call me back in 2 years and we'll see how.
Okay, y'all. So, hey, listen. Now, if y'all watching this, if you're young, don't go home and say Rain said Fortnite. What else y'all be playing? Fortnite, GTA, all them other games and everything y'all be playing. Don't say, hey, Mama Rain said I can be an air traffic controller in direct planes. So that's not what they're saying initially. Of course, they have to meet the FAA requirements. There's aptitude standards, medical requirements, security requirements, all that, and serious long haul training. So the FAA own workforce plan makes it clear that candidates still have to qualify before they ever control real air traffic. But I do like the message that they that's underneath the story. You know, sometimes that we dismiss what young people are interested in because it doesn't look like the traditional path that we understand. You know, some parents are like, "Why are you wasting time doing that?" You know, but of course they can have skills. What skills are you building while doing that? You know. So I'm gonna get to some of these comments right quick, and then we're gonna get on up out of here. So, Supermax. Oh, this was from the last segment, y'all. Supermax said impacted by a wild event. Yeah, that's what they said. A wild event or an event that's wild. Supermax said paralyzed now. There will be no punishment. Supermax said negative. I don't trust no Hippocratic oath takers. Supermax said stay healthy. Medical field is full of landmines. Bridget said, when is this show? YouTube told you reach your reschedule limit. No, no, Bridget. Mia, so I'll give you a definitive answer later on tonight. Me and Souls, we need to see when our schedules align. We both been real busy. AP King said, well, WSG rain. What is WSG, y'all? Y'all know. Mighty said, Richard, where have you been? AP King dropping the umbrellas. Soul said, my airman cross-trained into it. He's doing well. Good deal. Soul said they need to up the age cutoff. Because isn't it like 35? Let's look right quick before I get up out of here. What are the age requirements? I think it's like 35. Like you have to, if you don't come in at 35. Because they want that young mind. Okay. So for new hire controllers under 31 when applying, limited exceptions can apply to certain people with prior qualifying federal, military, or ATC experience. DoD civilian controllers, some positions allow entry up to age 36, depending on the specific job announcement. For FAA contract towers, there's no maximum age restriction, but these positions generally require previous ATC qualifications or approved specialized training. They do have a mandatory requirement as far as a mandatory retirement at age 56 with some exceptions. FAA controllers are generally subject to mandatory retirement at age 56 with some exceptions. Yeah. So yeah, So said they need more simulator gaming. Richard said, let class no Southerners are very respectful and kind. And cousin stuff real good manners, though just incest is crazy. All right then, Richard. All right then, Richard. So yeah, y'all, I'm gonna get on up out of here. I appreciate y'all rocking with me for this whole hour and 20, almost 25 minutes. Yeah, and so everything that we covered tonight was based around responsibility. Responsibility when children are in our homes, responsibility when firearms are around those children, responsibility for what we do to strangers in the name of entertainment and social attention, responsibility for those who we trust with our babies, responsibility when technology becomes powerful enough to follow our movements, responsibility inside hospitals that we trust with our bodies and our lives, and responsibility when young people are pressured by the need to belong, and responsibility as parents to understand the difference between loving our children through their mistakes and helping them avoid accountability for those mistakes. And then I didn't go over Jennifer Maxwell. I'm gonna go over her next time. So yeah, make sure y'all hit that like button. I haven't said this at all. Hit the like button. hit subscribe. If you have not done so already, let me pull up my new page that I'm trying to build up. Make sure y'all go over to my new page, range radar investigations. And let me pull that up for y'all and drop it in the chat. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Put that in the chat. Range radar investigations. Paste. Make sure y'all go over there. It's a brand new channel. I'm going to be bringing y'all some great content where I break down, do a deep dive into some of these cases that we've seen going on, you know, the crimes into the courtroom and questions that don't end with the headline stop. So make sure y'all go over there. I'm starting that page up. I've had a couple things over there. I went live over there today because we did do a lot of crime on this show, but I won't be live on this show over there often, only if it has a lot of crime in it. So make sure it's in the chat. Make sure y'all go over there, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you know when I do go live and whenever I do post something. Make sure y'all do that. And also, before I get out of here, one more thing. Me and Souls are going to be live with Miss Sophie Lancaster this afternoon. Why isn't it showing the whole thing? It's not going to show the whole thing. Do this. What if I do that? No, it's not gonna show the whole thing. Oh, it does on the vertical though. Let me remove this. There we go. So Miss Sophie Lancaster is going to join us live for a special edition or a special episode of Same Soil, Different Roots. We're going to be talking about her son Malachi and his untimely death involving a so-called, we're going to say a hunting incident. We're going to go through that story with her. We're going to let her talk and let her tell us Malachi's story. And make sure y'all join us over on the Raw Society Network on Facebook. We're going to broadcast it live on Facebook, the Raw Society page, and YouTube page, and Souls of Thought page. So make sure y'all join us today at 5 Eastern for that show. And just bring some awareness to the incident that happened. And also, she's trying to get Florida to reopen the case, to do a deeper dive into the investigation, because it's still inconclusive. I'm gonna say, in my own words, it's still inconclusive. There's not a final say yet. There's not an agreement between the medical officer, the medical examiner's office, and the actual law enforcement office that did the investigation. That's my thoughts around it, in my opinion. So make sure y'all tap in with us at 5 o'clock today for that. So y'all can become abreast to it and give us your thoughts and opinions on it as well. And help us get that story out there. This story has not made national headlines like it should have, compared to other stories as well. So we're gonna help Miss Lancaster out and do that. Yeah, do that. So I thank all of y'all for being here. Thank all of y'all for being here this afternoon. AP King said, I think they're developing simulators. They might be. So yeah, y'all go over to Range Radar Investigates. Hit that subscribe button over there. Share it with somebody who enjoys taking a deep dive into crimes and investigations as well. Y'all make sure y'all go over to the Raw Society Network page that includes me, Souls of Thought. You see him in the chat. Uncle Plug, where is Uncle Plug at? He could have stopped in for a few minutes. He might have been watching though. Make sure y'all go tap into all of our pages. We bring y'all great content 7 days a week. And we have been going live more here lately, so because of everything that's going on with the Carmelo Anthony case and the Nolan Wells incident as well. So yeah, I'll see y'all at 5 with Souls. Make sure y'all come back and get with us on that. And until next time, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Good night, y'all. I'll see y'all in a little bit.
skies. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure of up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.